Hey everyone, I'm Jazz McCools.
And I'm crazy. I'm crazy.
Clearly. And this is the Filmtastic Voyage.
Welcome, everybody, to the Filmtastic Voyage,
Whoa!
where we talk about all kinds of stuff.
In the third dimension.
That's right. We talk about movies. We talk about TV shows, maybe even some moving video games. But things are crazy
Sometimes
here at Filmtastic Voyage.
You never talk about fucking the theater, though.
The theater?
Fuck that.
Well, let me... okay, Alex, I'm going to take these off.
Yeah, because I don't know if you can hear it, folks, but there's a high-pitched squeal when he turns that on. And it's just a little grating.
For our listening fans, I just had these really awesome glasses on.
They're pretty awesome, but...
I got them at the Universal Studios Horror Nights.
What?
Which I went to last weekend.
Oh, shit.
Do you want to know about those horror nights?
No, but I did some work on them, but I don't want to talk about it.
You did work on those? Okay.
Not on the physical properties, just some of the CG. Anyways,
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, I
cool.
can't talk about it, but like then people will know who I am.
This episode sponsored by Le Croix. Cheers to Le Croix.
LaCroix. Oh ho ho. Drinking some LaCroix.
Anyways, folks, I went to the Halloween Horror Nights.
Brag about it.
Universal Studios. Let me tell you some things. All right, Alex, are you curious?
Lay it on me.
There was Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
There was Trick or Treat. Mm-hmm. There was Toxic Tunnel.
Trick or Treat?
Trick or Treat.
Like Trick or Treat the movie or Trick or Treat the
Trick
concept?
or Treat.
Okay.
The movie. There was Poltergeists.
Mm-hmm.
There was some other stuff. Oh, there was Classic Monsters. That was cool.
And there was a Halloween 4.
Halloween 4, yeah, I went to that one too. That one had a line an hour long where you had to snake around the Waterworld water show.
That's the real horror.
Yeah. But let me tell you, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. You know, I felt a little bit like, I don't want to say discriminated against. I wouldn't say that, but I felt like the monsters didn't want to scare me.
It's because you're too fucking brave looking, man.
Well, I guess that's what it is, right? I mean, what it was is the first couple ones that I went to, I was like really fucking, like I was like, you know what I mean? Like trying to like move out of the way and stuff. And then they would attack me. But then when I was just like, okay, I'm going to keep my cool. I'm not going to I'm just going to walk, right? And I'm just going to pretend like it doesn't matter. And then that's when they stopped trying to scare me.
Because they can smell fear. They go for the weak.
It's true.
Also, I hate haunted houses, so I didn't go. Because when I go to haunted houses, I'm like, I don't like people jumping out of the closets and going oogity boogity. So I just gonna get grumpy. I just gonna go, just kind of like trudge my way through it and just hope it's over, get over with.
The thing is, there was some really scary moments when people would just be, it's a scary ass night and it was so much fun. Oh, I went on the, it's like you get on a bus and then they drive you down to a place and then you get off the bus and then these clowns attack you. Yeah, it was nuts. It was real nuts.
Well, speaking of Halloween,
Yeah.
I saw a spooky movie.
What'd you see?
I saw Halloween.
Oh.
Finally got my ass off my couch and put my ass on the couch to watch fucking John Carpenter's seminal classic 1978 film of Halloween.
Nice. Are you planning on seeing the new one?
Fuck. Oh, the new one. I thought you were gonna say all of them. Fuck no, I'm not seeing all of them.
Halloween
the new
H2O?
one though, maybe later. Probably not in theaters, but perhaps later.
What about Halloween H2O?
No.
With Busta Rhymes.
No, I'm not gonna watch any of the other ones. Maybe Halloween 3. It's the only other one I'll probably watch.
I mean, Halloween 4 sounds like it's one of the faves.
I don't care about the mythos though. I like my Jasons. I'm sticking around with that.
Now, the Halloween 4 one, Haunted House, we did that last, and it was probably 1 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, everything was attacking me personally. Everything that could happen to me was happening to me.
How could there be anything else besides? Isn't there just a Michael Myers, or is there more?
Well, you go through this thing, and things are popping out everywhere, right?
Oh, I
so
see.
so yeah, like there was it was mainly
It's a
him.
spooky house of jump scares.
Yeah, but man, you know what was really disappointing was the Poltergeist one.
Because the hand didn't come out of the TV,
We stood in line. Oh no, it did.
but it wasn't made of rotoscope animation though, was it?
What?
Or not rotoscope. It wasn't made of like old timey cartoon animation though. I bet
No.
like it was in that movie.
Right. It was just a prop. But literally nothing attacked me in that one. And we stood in line for that for an hour and a half.
Wait, so you stood in like multiple hour-long lines?
There was only 2 that were crazy. Poltergeist and Halloween 4.
You think Stranger Things would be longer?
We did that first because we're like, fuck this. We're doing this first. That was fun. It was mainly just Demogorgons. It was actually just Demogorgons attacking.
Yeah, what else?
you.
Could, that show doesn't have the only other monster in that show is the giant one. And they couldn't afford that.
No. Yeah. But
Its asking price is too high. He doesn't just make an appearance.
And it was fun. Like that was a fun one. It was actually it was only season 1 stuff. They didn't have any season 2 stuff.
Well, like I said, season 2 stuff's all that weird giant thing. No, they had like the Demogorgon dogs, I guess.
Right. There's the dogs. And there's the whole underground thing with the dogs and the
That would be
Yeah.
pretty cool. Oh well.
yeah. But it just had season.
Did it
1
have
stuff.
the spooky wall with the Christmas lights?
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. It was funny. I got into one room where there was a Demogorgon just like blocking me. So I thought, okay, I got to turn right instead of going forward. But then I turned right, and then there's like a little kid with a flashlight that came out of a corner and just stared at me. But not in a way that was like trying to scare me, in a way that was just like, what are you doing? So then I was like, oh shit, okay, I gotta go this other way. So that was fun. What else? Oh, I went on the Harry Potter ride. Never been to the
scary.
Never been to the Harry Potter land.
It's
Went
the
to Harry Potter
best
land.
part of Universal, I think.
It was fun. It was cool. Yeah, we went. I went with my brother and his girlfriend, and we went to Harry Potter Land. Went on the Harry Potter ride. I had never seen something that was part simulator, part like I guess roller coaster or something.
Oh, they
have you
lots
been
of
on
those.
that?
Yeah, no, they don't. They did stuff like that at Disneyland, right?
No, I don't. Not that I recall.
Simulator / run.
But it was cool. It's like, you're going in Hogwarts and then you're like flying through the fucking lake.
No,
and
yeah,
shit.
that's the best ride of the whole park, I think.
Yeah. No, that was fun.
I waited an hour and a half for that ride, and then we went on
Yeah.
like the Flight of the Hippogriff or whatever, that little kid coaster, which sucks because it's like 20 feet long, goes around once.
I mean, I got to tell you though. So we did that ride and then we went to the shops.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is why they built this place. The shops were just fucking swamped.
Yeah,
People buying.
Did you get your wand?
No.
Did you get butterbeer?
No.
Oh, butterbeer was pretty good. I liked it.
I bought my girlfriend a necklace that had Ravenclaw on it because she's Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
So are you Ravenclaw too?
Fuck yeah.
I'm boring old Gryffindor or whatever that is. Gryffindor. I'm boring.
You know what it is.
I'm boring old Gryffindor. I was bummed out about that. I'm
Well, you
like,
bummed out of being Gryffindor. Everyone and their mother wants to be Gryffindor for whatever the fuck
dude,
reason, and they're wrong because
ba-
Ravenclaw's
you
the
know,
best.
Gryffindor is just a basic bitch. I'm a basic
Oh
bitch.
no, Hufflepuff is the basic to bitch.
No.
Yeah, they are. Nobody likes Hufflepuff. Not even Hufflepuffs.
Being Gryffindor is like them being like, hey, you know what Ninja Turtle you are? Leonardo.
What's wrong with being Leonardo? Wait, he's got swords.
Leonardo's my favorite. I'm just saying, if we're talking least personality out of everybody, it's Leonardo, right? Sort of like Gryffindor is just like, oh, here's like the generic brand. You're not evil. You're not Nazi House, which is fucking Slytherin. By the way, I think they should Hogwarts. They should have just done away with Slytherin. I think, right?
I think I don't know. Maybe it's the movies that do. I feel like it's just like maybe
like
the movies depict it as a little
Evil
more one. Yeah, but it's
House.
it's like dickhead central.
Hey, are you an evil Are you a bad person? This hat is gonna tell you that you belong in the
It's unbelievable. This house
Evil
is just an
house.
evil house. It's my Tom Hardy.
By the way, going back to last episode, he didn't say that line in the movie.
No,
huh?
but it's fine. Whatever.
yeah.
This is-
Anyways,
Um,
I wanted to go on the Simpsons ride, but by the time we had, it was at the end of the night. It was like 1 a.m, and it was going to be a 15-minute wait to go into the Simpsons ride. And we're just like, fuck it, we're not going to do
the
this.
thing about most Universal rides, though, is because they're all essentially the same. They're all motion coasters.
oh
So
yeah.
you see one, you see most of them. You see basically-
Simulators,
Yeah, and they're all
yeah.
the same.
And then the Jurassic Park ride was shut down because they're changing it to Jurassic World,
I wonder what they're gonna
which
do.
really bums me out.
Well, the Jurassic Park ride had seen better days, though. Those dinosaurs are a little ragged.
Yeah, it's just I never went on the Jurassic Park ride.
Oh.
So now if I go on it, I'm only going to see, pardon my French, not lame ass, but
You don't want to see
less good Jurassic
fucking
World.
Indominus Rex go like oogity
No,
boogity boogity.
I don't. I want to see just dinosaurs.
Hmm.
I don't want to see made up, weird, weaponized dinosaurs.
Last time I went to Universal, I rode every ride except for the Mummy ride because I got like deathly ill like right before. Like I got like
Oh,
a bad
wow.
I got a bad cold coming on, and so I was like in the line. Like we just got in the line. I'm just like, can we go
Oh
home?
God.
You know.
Now the Mummy ride, is it classic Brandon Fraser, or is it weird?
I've
Tom
never been on it,
Cruise?
so I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay.
It's probably Brendan Fraser though,
Hell yeah.
'cause it's been around for a while.
Hey everybody, hashtag Mummy 4 petition. Am I right?
Hashtag not my mummy.
Hashtag not, yes. Hashtag not my mummy. Hashtag bring back Brandon Fraser. You realize if Universal did that, that movie would make some money.
It would not. Nobody like
No?
fucking like Reddit cares about Brendan Fraser, but the public at large does not.
Well, here's the thing. Don't make it bad. Don't make it like weird, like Mummy 3 fighting Yetis and stuff.
He would have to have like a Han Solo episode 7 role where he kind of shows up and is like the wise mentor to the scrappy Utes.
Yeah, but well, then just do that. Then just do that.
I don't
though.
like the mummy's gone. The mummy's dead. I don't give a shit.
What I think is funny is Tom Cruise is older than Brandon Fraser, isn't he? But then they made a Mummy movie with Tom Cruise.
Well, Tom Cruise is in much better shape than Brendan Fraser. No offense,
Well-
no offense to Mr. Fraser, but come on, like Tom Cruise like looks like he's like 35.
Yeah, that's true. And Brandon Fraser looks
Like he looks fine. Brendan Fraser doesn't look bad. He looks good, but like
yeah.
He's
He's making a little bit of a comeback.
yeah, he's in that FX show.
He was in the TV version of that movie that had a bunch of problems. Kevin Spacey problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was in something else, or he's gonna be in a movie or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, isn't he gonna be like I don't know? Maybe make like
He,
Doom
like-
Patrol or something. I'm making that.
I read some article where he was interviewed. He owns like a ranch. He has like a bunch of animals and livestock and stuff, and he has kids and stuff. Like he seems like he's a pretty happy dude.
Yeah.
He had that weird AOL interview where he sounded like he was about to cry.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
AOL was this 98.
Well, exactly. Yeah, AOL was interviewing him, and this was back before he had that FX thing. This was back when he was like some minor character in like a TV show that was like on some cable channel that anyways, yeah, it was a minor role that he had, and he seemed downtrodden at the time. But not anymore, am I right? He's making that FX money.
Sure.
Good for him.
Yep. So I saw Halloween.
Yeah, so tell me about this
So
Halloween.
Have you seen Halloween, I assume?
Nope.
No, you haven't?
Nope.
Oh, Halloween's great. It's a great movie. The cool thing about Halloween is it feels, even though like it was in the day and it feels right now like a really well done indie movie.
Okay.
Like
Wasn't that one of John Carpenter's first?
No, it wasn't his first. I think he did Assault on Precinct 13 before that. Maybe The Fog
Oh,
even before that.
shit.
I'm not sure. He was working in the early 70s.
Okay.
But like yeah, it was like made for like, a bunch of pennies. and like it feels cheap, but it like feels like well done cheap, like a labor of love kind of thing. Like it's like really well done, very creatively shot. The camera work's fantastic.
Yeah.
The only thing separating from like a modern, well done indie movie right now, like indie horror movie, is the fashion, obviously, and the kind of graininess of the film stock, and the color palette, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It varies a bit late 70s, not too late 70s, but a bit. And the only thing that I think the only like blemishes I can think of are, some of the actors are just like a little horror movie actory, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And also, all the teenagers except for Jamie Lee Curtis are like obviously 30.
Really?
Well, they don't. I don't
Is she a teenager in the movie?
I think I apparently she was, but the other teenagers they don't. They might not be 30, but they
look
it's
like
like you're
they're
not
30.
a teenage.
Yeah.
That whole trope, which is again all movies do that, so I'm not going to hold it against it.
Right. I mean, especially like back then, especially, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember being in high school watching Freddy versus Jason, and it had teenagers in it that were probably in their 30s.
That's always been the case. So.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. But no, it's an excellent film. Well worth the praise it gets. Not scary at all, though. So.
Well, I got a question for you because Danny McBride is, I think, co-directing the new one, or yeah. And one thing they asked him about was like his take on this new Halloween movie of his, and he was talking about how like the original felt less like magic. I guess what I mean is the monster wasn't like this magical monster.
No, yeah, like that's what also I liked about it a lot especially compared to like because I've seen all the Friday the 13th movies, the Friday the 13th movies. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they call Freddy versus Jason Freddy the 13th? Anyways, so,
that would have been the sequel.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But like, yeah, he's just a crazy dude with a mask, and he just kind of walks around, and like, well, the only thing he is kind of magic because like at the end of that movie, they keep shooting him, and he disappears.
Oh, okay.
Like it's one of those kind of things. But
right. But I imagine I mean, of course, I haven't seen any of these movies.
But like, yeah, by the end of the fucking series, he's like
made of magic.
Yeah, he's like magic. Like either he was like I forget. Like he's a government experiment. He's also like the product of some like Celtic curse too.
Oh.
Or something. I don't know.
So just ancient Irish technology?
I don't remember what's going on. All I know is that he's probably not as magic as Jason Voorhees, because Jason Voorhees is like a fucking zombie by episode 6 or whatever you want to call that one.
So how come they never had... Okay, so they've had a Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees crossover. How come never have Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers?
I think it's Mike Miles again, and like he's not nearly as magical. He's like
right.
some sort of like inhuman monster, but he's not like a fucking magical zombie monster thing.
Yeah,
he's not the undead, as far as I'm aware.
Now I've told you my impossible idea for the perfect Halloween movie, haven't I? For like a shared universe.
Refresh me.
Okay, I mean I figure I might as well bring this up because it's the Halloween season. Ooh,
Samhain.
So if you haven't heard this before, hey, you're in for a treat. Here's the thing. When they were talking about making the Universal Monster movie universe or whatever, the Dark Universe, and of course it didn't work.
Too bad that the Javier Bardem Frankenstein movie could have been cool, but it would have been like a hot and sexy summertime blockbuster movie, which you don't want to make Frankenstein for more than like $30 million.
Sizzling Frankenstein.
You could make a modern day Frankenstein movie, be pretty swell, I think.
Yeah.
You can make a modern day Prometheus, if you know what I'm saying.
You could take any of those movies, those classic monster movies, make a modern version of the. You could do a lot with those.
Like the stories are so simple. I'd love to see them. It's like, hey, I'm like a lawyer. I go to this guy's weird castle in Transylvania. Whoops, he's a vampire. Hey, look, I'm like a cool hip youth scientist dude. Hey, look, I brought a corpse back to life. What do you know? And now he's tormenting me.
Yeah,
like that. Like the time period is inconsequential to that.
You could be some millennial. You could be some millennial on your iPhone who gets lost in the forest, and a dog bites you, and then all of a sudden you're a werewolf.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. Like the themes of these gothic horror novels and movies they're universal themes, no pun intended. And so they carry through. They don't have to like, it's like, oh, people in like the 1800s were this way, and like, that was a time
Right.
long gone. It's like the thing about like Frankenstein, as far as I'm aware, it's like about some kid. He's like a 19-year-old kid who is dealing with more than he understands, and he creates some big shit. It's about being responsible and stuff, and not spitting in the face of God or whatever.
Right.
So like, get Tom Holland, and he's Victor Frankenstein.
Tom Holland is.
That I'd love that. Tom Holland should be Victor Frankenstein.
He should have his Spider-Man voice. Just like, oh God, oh
Well,
jeez.
I saw him.
Oh, boy.
I saw him. He was in The Lost City of Zed. He's in dramas.
Oh. I
Hanging
didn't even
out
know
with,
he was in other movies.
Charlie Hunnam, and they go to the Amazon and get eaten or something.
Nice.
No one really knows.
Well, okay, so a shared Universal Monster movie universe. This is what you do, okay? You have it where you got the Universal Monsters,
Yes.
and they sort of keep the peace
Oh yes, you did tell me this.
by they sort of keep this world together by doing their monstering, right? It's sort of like how Godzilla is, where it's like he's destructive, but he keeps the other monsters
He's the
away.
equilibrium.
But what happens is all of a sudden there's this new covenant of monsters, which is like the 80s slasher monsters, right? And they're coming into town and just fucking wreaking havoc, right? So then Dracula is like, okay, I need to get these Universal monsters together. He doesn't say Universal monsters, but he says, okay, I need to get the good monsters together, make an Avengers-esque team to fight these like 80s radicals, right?
Yeah.
And so what you have is Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man, Werewolf, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Who else is in there?
That's basically it.
I guess that's it, right? Bride of Frankenstein.
I mean, that's like the Avengers, like your small squad. I'm sure there's more. But
Yeah, and then you have them fighting Jason, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Hellraiser.
that's basically it.
I guess that's it, right?
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, you can keep subdividing it more and more as you get into the B's and C's lists.
Right. But hey, there's your movie. That's a movie. I'd see that movie.
And then the sequel, so they defeat all those guys. And the sequel, it's like, whoa, the world's safe again. And then Cthulhu rises from the depths.
Age of Cthulhu.
And you gotta fucking go to Innsmouth and fight a bunch of frog people in Cthulhu.
No, what happens is Dracula, after the events of the first movie, Dracula and Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, we need to make sure this doesn't happen again. So let's summon let's summon Cthulhu to protect the Earth for us.
Cthulhu don't listen to no one.
Right, and who voices Cthulhu? James Spader. and then they have to fight Cthulhu, and then the rest of the whatever his name, those monsters.
But they can. Then they got to go. Like the only way to find Cthulhu is to go to the South Pole, to go to the ancient evil city with a bunch of Shoggoths and stuff. And
then that's when you can have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde come in as the new Avengers.
Yeah, okay.
Like Scarlet Witch and
Yeah.
Quicksilver.
And then Candyman shows up. Another who cares?
Candyman.
Trying to think of the other. What
Candyman shows up, and the guy from Prom Night, who's just a creepy guy.
And Jigsaw.
Oh shit, Jigsaw. Okay, so then the third movie could be like these like newfangled like Aughts monsters.
Yeah. There's not that many of those, unfortunately. Horror is shift away from monsters.
Yeah, it's more like the Grudge Kid or the
the Grudge,
the Grudge
and
Kid,
Ring
and
Kid,
the Ring Kid.
Those aren't that famous anymore. They never really spawned much franchises. What's
Right.
that big one? Oh, you get the fucking the big ones nowadays are The Nun.
All
and
right,
Annabelle.
Nun. Yeah.
Which they're just kind of like, I don't know about The Nun, but Annabelle's just sort of like a conduit for horror stuff.
I don't know anything about any of that.
Anyway, so the point of the matter is, so after like 3 Universal Monster movies, things have all gone to shit. And so the 4th movie, Hellboy shows up and kills them all.
Oh shit!
And then the world is saved.
See, I won't want to waste Hellboy on that.
Oh no,
schlock.
Hellboy! I want to
on those C minus schlock.
No, I mean Hellboy's killing Dracula. I mean,
Oh, okay. The third movie, basically the trailers and everything is like, hey, the boys are back in town, right?
boys are back in town. That's the trailer music.
But that's like the first 5 minutes of that movie, and basically after those 5 minutes, Hellboy comes in, shoots them all in the head, and then surprise, it's a Hellboy movie.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah, speaking of Hellboy, you see that poster? Oh, man.
I'm pretty fucking impressed by that poster.
Well, not only the poster, but also you see the Comic-Con, no, the New York Comic-Con banner poster they released, too.
No.
Ooh, that one's sweet. Let me pull that up for you.
So for anybody at home, you should Google image search the new Hellboy movie with Stranger Things cop.
Hi, I'm Stranger Things cop.
Because it's pretty fucking cool. I was impressed. Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
So, so that's the banner poster. So, the tagline, people are saying, it's a little hello, fellow kids, if you know what I'm saying. It's legendary AF, or legendary as fuck. Which is
Right.
like kind of Hellboy in its demeanor, but like a little, too on the nose for its hippitude.
Uh-huh.
Like it should have been like legendary as hell or Hellsia or whatever the fuck,
Oh,
who
yeah.
cares? I guess if you want to be lazy about it. I'm sure they thought about that and they're like, no, market shows that this is more trendy, Either way, tagline aside, it's a hell of a sweet poster. And then the other one's even better. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, Mike. Hellboy is my favorite comic book property.
I actually did not know that.
I mean, like,
I could have assumed that, but I did not know that.
yes, I love Hellboy. Read all the Hellboys. It took me unfortunately longer than it should have to finally read Hellboy in Hell, but goddamn, it's good. And so this movie, based on the posters and stuff, is based off my favorite Hellboy story.
Really?
Which I'm super excited about. It's based off The Storm and the Fury, where Hellboy is apparently a long-lost relative of King Arthur, and he wields Excalibur and has to fight a dragon. Because this pig man, who you can see in the poster, this pig guy, Hellboy done scorned him long ago by burning him with iron and dooming the fairy race or whatever. And he's all pissed off. And so he's like, I'm going to get back at Hellboy. I'm going to summon this evil blood queen to like raise an army and take over the world. And so he does. And the Baba Yaga's there for reasons. And it's going to be, and like if they follow the plot, it should be great. Not sure how the BPRD folks fit into all of this, though. Because Ian McShane's there as Hellboy's Professor Dad, I think, is the character he's playing. He's been long dead in the comics at the point of that story.
Right.
And then also, I forget, there's some other agent. I haven't read any of the BPRD comics. I'm a little behind in that. So I don't know who he is specifically, but like I don't know what he's doing there. But yeah, that's fun.
Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I hope it's successful, and I also hope that the people making this movie are like, you know what? This is strictly Hellboy comics. This is what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
yeah.
the first Hellboy movie was like, I guess, the closest thing to that, and then the second movie, I'll say it endlessly. That second movie just went off the rails.
The second movie isn't as dissimilar from the comics as you might think. The comics do get that, but it's a different tone. Mm-hmm. It's like it's more Del Toro-y, as you say. It's a lot less sort of dark folklore as the comics get, which it seems like what this new one's going for, which I really appreciate. And it seems like the Hellboy character from the comic books and what they're going for in the movie, apparently based on what I've read in interviews and stuff, is like he's got sadder. He's just kind of like a lonely dude who just goes into haunted houses and drinks with a bunch of skeletons and ghosts and sort of wanders the world looking for his place. Like after like a few, after like 3 or 4 stories, he's like, I quit, and then he just kind of wanders around.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is I don't know, it's kind of fun. So hopefully that's like kind of where the story that we see, and then it seems like it could be a lot more closer to the comics, which is very exciting because I really like the tone of the comics and the art and all that.
Does Mike Mignola still have a pretty big role in the comics?
I mean, they're done. Hellboy's finished.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know about the expanded Hellboy stuff, but Hellboy's story is done, as far as I'm aware.
Well, because I know there's other ones. There's Abe Sapien, I think, has his own.
Yeah, and the BPRD.
And BPRD.
Yeah. He writes them all. They're all written by him.
Oh, okay.
As far as I'm aware. Lobster Johnson.
Oh yeah, Lobster Johnson.
So Hellboy's is ripe for the cinematic universe thing.
I mean, if they could pull that off.
Well, it's
I
not
don't
so
know.
hard. I mean, there's so many different you just pluck folklore and Cthulhu mythos from wherever you want, and you got make a couple movies about it. There you go.
Yeah.
It's like a whole movie where Hellboy gets trapped in like weird Russia space time and has to fight the Baba Yaga, and it's like undead corpse man who like is like in agony because he's like, please let me die, and that kind of and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then he's got like, I don't know, he's saved by a doll. And then like if this story goes up to the end of it, Hellboy fights a dragon on top of a castle and then gets dragged into hell.
Well, hey,
And then they do Hellboy in Hell, which is awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. This is in January?
They pushed it to April.
Oh, to April. Hey, that means they probably maybe have some more clout with
It's
the movie
always
there.
weird these days because like in the olden days, a movie moving from January to April would be like, hey, they have like more faith in the movie. But nowadays, it's like it could be that, or it's like they need more time to finish this movie, or there's a lot of trouble. They fucking need to push it. You know, it's like it could be one of many things. But I'm still looking forward to it. It's one of my. I would say it's my most. Well, we'll see what hopefully the trailer, supports this current thing. But just based off the concept alone, it's my most anticipated comic book movie of next year.
Well, and speaking of which, a movie that got pushed back that I think is probably in that situation of maybe this is awful and we need to push it back more. X-Men, Dark Phoenix. They came out with a trailer on a Friday saying this is coming out in February, and then the very next day we got news that it's coming out now in June. And it's like, what the hell is going on?
I hope it's good, obviously. So.
But the thing is like that. Okay, the trailer. Let's get. Hey, Alex, why don't we get into the trailer of that movie,
Okay.
Dark Phoenix, because we haven't talked about that.
I like the font of the trailer. I like how it's just called Dark Phoenix. Those things are cool.
Yeah.
It has that classic Infinity War kind of like classy serif font.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I'm trying to figure out the reasoning behind this movie because it's been pushed back twice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically retelling a movie. They're retelling the story of a movie that didn't do well back when it was released
But this one's got space and aliens
12 years ago. Does it have space and aliens?
in it. Yes.
I didn't see that from the trailer.
Well, maybe, I don't know. All I know is it's got like, they said like, well, there was a shot where they go to space in the trailer, and isn't like Jessica Chastain playing some alien? I don't know much about it.
Okay.
All I know is it's like more cosmic stuff. That's all I know about it. So.
Interesting. Well, I don't know.
All I know is that stop going to Magneto for your problems. He's just gonna dick you over. Also, I love to imagine. So this movie takes place in the '90s, and so how I like to imagine Magneto going from Michael Fassbender to Ian McKellen in just the span of like 8 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. We're getting. It's like okay. This will be the fourth of these movies. Of the I guess the reboot cast, the younger cast, and they do this thing where every movie takes place in a different decade, but they don't age their characters, and they consciously do this.
I don't know. I don't care. Like the problem with me is I don't care about the X-Men, so I don't care. I'll still see it though.
I guess I'll see it. I don't know. It strikes me odd. I don't know. It's an odd. They've made some odd choices, and I think there's a lot of X-Men stories that we haven't seen, and I'm just curious. I'm just curious about
this is almost certainly going to be the last of this run of X-Men movies, and it's going to get.
Do you think so?
I think the Marvel or the Disney deal is done, right? As far as unless something weird happens, and Marvel Fox Marvel goes back to X-Men, and Fox's properties go back to Marvel and become part of the MCU. So I can only imagine that it's going to get some sort of rebooted.
Well, because what I'm curious about is it's just sort of like because I think Kevin Feige mentioned that he wants X-Men a part of the MCU.
Well, Bob Iger recently said that X-Men are going to be under Kevin Feige and part of the MCU. So
Right. But the thing is, what's weird about this is, okay, this movie's going to come out in June of 2019. Then I guess it's a hard reboot after that. But the audience is in a weird place now where it's like, okay, I guess if that is so public that it's going to be rebooted, the audience is in this weird place now where this movie's coming out in another 6 months, or probably a little bit more, 8 months. So we're going to wait 8 months to see this movie. And then after that, it'll probably be a couple of years, and then we'll get a hard reboot of the X-Men. And so we have that knowledge going into this now that, okay, we're going to see this movie, and then there's going to be a hard reboot. And it's like in movie history, I don't know if I've ever come across that, where it's like they're putting this movie out, and then all of a sudden there's going to be a hard reboot, and everybody knows it, but they're hoping that this is going to do really well and everybody's going to love it and we're going to see it anyways. It's just
it's a little
odd.
unusual. Maybe that's why they keep pushing it.
Yeah. And then there's the New Mutants movie that has just fallen off of a cliff.
I was reading that apparently, like, it got pushed from the schedule to be reshot like long time ago. They haven't even done any of the reshoots yet, though. Apparently.
Interesting.
So I was hoping that there's like some kind of obvious reshoot situation where the kids are like clearly older between scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like their hair is different or some hilarious gaffe. We'll see. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of pushed movies, Fox has pushed Battle Angel Alita to
Back
sometime next year in 2019 and replaced it with Deadpool 2 again in Christmas.
Oh, right.
Which is the weirdest thing for me. Now, what they're doing is funny. Did you hear what they're doing?
They're re-releasing Deadpool 2 as a PG-13. It's a PG-13 movie now.
A PG-13 cut. But did you hear about how they're framing it, though? The framing device? They're doing it so Deadpool is going to be reading Deadpool 2 to Fred Savage, a la The Princess Bride, which is really funny to me. So it's clever and stupid and silly, and that kind of makes sense. So he's like doing the whole thing, and I bet they'll like pause every time to do little sketches between. I'm not going to see it in theaters, but I'd be interested in seeing it to see if it makes Deadpool 2 better, because I thought Deadpool 2 is not great.
Kind of a Dudpool, huh?
And I think Deadpool 2 doesn't need to be rated R to work. or Deadpool in general. I think Deadpool can be just as wacky, silly, and funny with PG-13 humor. I think almost he might lean too hard on the R just for cheap jokes, as being like, I'm Deadpool, fuck sticks, or whatever. This will be interesting to see if that works, like how it works that way. It's probably some sort. You can make the theory it's a test. Like Disney is like, why don't you guys release Deadpool 2? See if it works in PG-13. If so, we'll put him in the MCU.
I think they will anyways.
Because people love that Ryan Reynolds.
And here's the thing. What's interesting about putting Deadpool in the MCU is you can what's so cool about him is he's so self-referential and self-aware and all that, breaking the fourth wall. And I could easily see a wink and a smile and all that with Deadpool being like, oh, hey, I'm switching universes because Disney bought me, or you know what I mean? Like,
it'd be great.
And it easily just fits in. Like, it's like the easiest thing to just transition to.
Yeah. And I think my issue with Deadpool in its current state is I'm just not a fan of this. Is sort of like, for lack of a better word, in my opinion, lazy humor where he just like farts, making farts. One thing that Deadpool 2 had that I think the first one didn't have is Deadpool 2 didn't have comedy. Like, the comedy writing for that movie was just kind of problematic. For 1 or 2?
For 2. Sorry, I phrased that really weird. So I feel like Deadpool 1 was like, okay, we're making this R-rated comedy, superhero movie, and it worked pretty well. And like, there was the right amount of R-rated elements, and it felt like an R movie, and that was fine. Deadpool 2, I felt like this was a PG-13 movie, but there was writers that were really trying to make it R, but it didn't need to be. Like, it didn't feel like an R-rated movie, did it?
No, not really.
There was no real R-rated.
Besides in the violence.
But even then, it was like, this is not nearly as like gory or I don't know, profane.
I think like the problem with Deadpool 2 versus Deadpool 1 is that Deadpool 1 had a story that I was actually engaged in, I think. And so like the humor didn't interrupt. Like there was like the humor and the story kind of moved together. And with Deadpool 2, I was not into the story at all. Like I didn't care. And so all I had was
Right.
humor, and I didn't like the humor at all. So it was one of the most just like unpleasant movies I've seen in a while. For those two reasons.
Yeah, I mean the whole plot was he was having some weird dream sequence about his girlfriend telling him he had to do something meaningful before he could be with her. So then he translates that to he has to help this kid out, but for whatever no real reason for this, right? And then I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
And then the big reveal, I guess the big audience pleaser was supposed to be Juggernaut, but then like Juggernaut was not that like cool. I don't know. It was stuff like that where it's just like, okay, so the big like juicy like thing we're throwing at the audience is Juggernaut. But Juggernaut was already in another movie and he already sucked.
Nobody really likes Juggernaut. Come
Right.
on. But I'd be interested in seeing the new Deadpool 2 just for like editing reasons, because it's always fun to see like another edit of a movie.
Yeah,
see what's different.
I suppose.
So I probably won't see it in theaters, but will definitely see it eventually just to see what it's like. And I'm glad they're making it because it's a cool experiment. I like cool experiments
Yeah.
in movies that aren't affecting other movies, you know? If
Yeah.
you will. It's not like we're making this experiment. It's not like, oh, we're going to film The Hobbit in 60 frames per second or whatever. You know, it's not like that. It's not an experiment that's like hurting a movie that hasn't come out yet. So
Yeah.
whatever, I say.
Yeah. It's a curious thing. Within the next 5 years, it's going to be. I'm calling it right now, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Within the next 5 years, that whole genre of movie is going to be a very different landscape.
But the superhero?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean,
I feel like we're witnessing the tipping point of the MCU.
Clearly, fatigue hasn't set in. Obviously, considering how 2 of the 3 MCU movies this year have been explosive hits.
Oh yeah,
and Ant-Man's made its money back.
But
and
that's
then some.
Ant-Man actually. Yeah, I actually looked that up. Ant-Man 2 or Ant-Man and the Wasp has made more money than the first one did.
Yeah, it was like kind of slowing down for a while, but I guess like it still managed to get it.
But don't you ever get the impression that right now we're witnessing like the highest high?
The high water mark?
Yeah.
Possibly.
I can't imagine it going higher than this.
Like the thing, like I can imagine if Infinity War 2 or whatever the fuck it's called really does it, like it's like just as good if not better than Infinity War 1. That's gonna really be like the peak, because like every person who saw that movie on DVD is like, I gotta go to theaters to see how fucking what happened to Iron Man and Spider-Man come back and all that shit, you know.
Yeah.
So that could like be another $2 billion movie right there, and then after that though, because my prediction based off nothing but pure speculation, obviously, is Iron Man, Captain America are gonna die or retire or whatever. They're gonna be out of the MCU.
Yeah.
Chris Evans did retire from the role recently,
Right.
So that's a fact. And then they're going to replace him with a bunch of unknowns, and people might get a little pissy about that. Because Kevin Feige specifically was like, we're going to have a lot more women leads, and the people might, hopefully nobody bats an eye, but we don't live in such a nice place.
Right.
And then so it might be, and it might cause some issues, or maybe it won't. I'd like to think it won't, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it might not. It might be like the high water mark, and then it might eventually get back to where it is. I don't even know. Who knows? That's just a prediction. Is that high water mark, and then it will take a bit of time. Phase 4 will kind of throw some things at the wall and see what sticks, and it will be another phase or 2 before it gets back to where it was, or maybe it never will.
Well, one thing I predict is I don't know how long Marvel's going to have Spider-Man shared rights, but one thing I would imagine is if they do renew that or whatever, the MCU could easily become Spider-Man, X-Men centric. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. When I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming, I'm like, this kid's so good. He can carry an entire franchise in the way that Iron Man can. So
yeah, I agree.
Robert Downey Jr. I mean,
I agree. The weird thing though about Spider-Man: Homecoming is there's a lot of people that hate it, which I don't understand. There's a lot of people that hate him as Spider-Man and hate that movie, and it's an odd thing. It's like a really. It's a really divisive movie. Surprisingly,
I think it's wrong to hate a movie in any capacity. So
Nah.
what?
There's a couple movies out there that I.
Well, there's movies that I dislike.
Well, I guess hate. Yeah,
by hate I mean
is,
this movie makes me angry. Like
well,
that's what I mean by hate.
I guess what I mean is like people that dislike Tom Holland as Spider-Man, which blows my mind. But whatever. But yeah, I mean, what's interesting is like we could potentially see an MCU with Marvel's original flagship characters. You know, I mean, if we're talking like the 70s through the 90s.
Yeah, you get your Fantastic Fours.
Well, I'm specifically referencing like if we're talking like 80s, 90s, aughts. Mm-hmm. Now even really Spider-Man and Wolverine. I mean, those were the two big flagship Marvel characters.
Yeah, basically all the cartoons, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could potentially see them sort of being the flagship characters for the movies too.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah.
I can't imagine someone matching the gravitas of Hugh Jackman for Wolverine, but you never know.
People say that, and I'm sure someone will come, like, if they play the cards right, someone will come and be like, oh yeah, this guy. You know, I think you could, Hugh Jackman's a kind of Wolverine, but he's not like the only type of Wolverine. You can make a shorter, gruffer, piece of shit Wolverine who's not like this, like, you know.
And here's the thing:
the shining beacon of handsomeness that Hugh Jackman is. Though.
I would even say with X-Men, I mean, this would be a perfect opportunity to diversify the cast, sort of like how they did with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We've seen we've seen a bunch of X-Men movies now where it's just nothing but white dudes and white people, you know. I'd say just go ahead and do like a completely different take on
make Cyclops
X-Men.
Asian. Who cares?
Yeah, you know, it's there's a ton of opportunities with like modernizing the X-Men and stuff.
But Jean Grey's not gonna have her fucking red hair.
Yeah, who cares?
I don't understand. I told you. I said before. I understand again. I don't understand people's obsession with hair color.
I mean, granted, like.
It makes sense to separate people color-wise from a distance, but like you're human, like in a comic book, because like you're so graphically limited, it makes sense to do that. But as human beings who don't have to rely on strong silhouettes because they're just humans, I mean, like it's important to try and cast for strong silhouettes also. But you know, people don't have like crazy, ridiculous features, so just cast good actors. And who cares what they look like?
Was there? I mean, I don't think there was much backlash with Spider-Man: Homecoming.
There was. Some, but not
Mary Jane
but
Watson?
like not too much. I didn't see that much.
I don't remember like an uproar about that or anything. But I mean, I'm sure there was. I mean, there always is, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, just do it.
Yeah.
Like the thing that like producers need to do is just cast people and then don't even say anything. Don't say like we're making a statement. Just don't even make a statement, because that's what gets people all riled up. Is we're like, we're making a statement. People are like, fuck you with your statements. Just be like, hey, look, we cast Cyclops. He's Asian. And people are like, what the fuck? It was like, what are you talking about? It's just a guy. What are you talking about, you know?
Yeah.
That's the statement you make. It's like, hey, look, we cast this guy. Look at this guy. He's just a normal guy.
And I think that was like that was one of the big mistakes, I think, that they did with like the new Ghostbusters movie. Mm-hmm. Is before the movie even came out, Sony was like, oh, if you don't see this, you're sexist. Or I mean, they didn't say that exactly, but I think that was the implication that they made this big hubbub about like, oh, you know, you better see this movie because it's an all-woman cast.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, you know, Ocean's 8, right? Like Ocean's 8 was an all-woman cast. I don't think anybody had a problem with it.
And like Annihilation had an all-woman cast, and they didn't mention that at all.
Right? Yeah, and it was just fine. It's
that
like,
movie's amazing.
Here's this movie, all-woman cast.
I mean, like, well, the Mario didn't make that much money, so maybe they should have done that. I have no idea.
I mean, Annihilation, I think, is a niche. It's like kind of a niche movie.
It was never gonna make that much money
as it is. Yeah. It was like a very like dreary sci-fi film that I think a lot of people probably
that movie's creepy as fuck.
Wouldn't have seen anyways. I love that movie, by the way, but it's unfortunately niche audience. That's probably going to be on my top 10 2018
It's still
movies.
in my top 3 2018. There's yet to be bested.
Top 3, damn.
Yet to be bested.
Damn. 2018 is interesting movie landscape, and I cannot wait until we do our top picks.
It might be top 5. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the movies. Either way. And we're getting to the nitty gritty because we got like I still haven't seen A Star Is Born, And we got a First Man coming up.
Oh, right.
And then I also want to see Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh my God, yes.
And I forget what else is coming out in October, and then there's more stuff.
Hey, speaking of which, guess another trailer that dropped. I think you told me about it, and it's coming out this year. Is it just called? Oh my God. Why am I
Vice. Are you talking
blanking
about
on
Vice?
this? Yeah, Vice.
Vice with Dick Cheney. Yeah, it's coming out in the Christmas times.
Listen, everybody, if you haven't seen the trailer for Vice, watch that shit. Because damn.
Yeah, no, that movie looks real fun. It's like, hey, you like the Big Short? You like Dick Cheney? Nobody likes Dick Cheney. Then you probably like you're in for a good movie. I mean, lots of people like Dick Cheney. I'm just making a joke. Speaking of which, if you're interested in Dick Cheney, there's a documentary called The World According to Dick Cheney, which is an excellent documentary, and you should check it out.
Hey, there you go. What I would really love is if Gary Oldman won an Oscar for wearing a fat suit and playing Winston Churchill last year. Maybe Christian Bale will win an Oscar for wearing a fat suit this year.
Well, he won an Oscar for losing a bunch of weight, like in 2008. So
that was best.
Yeah, it's still an Oscar's an Oscar, though.
I want him. Listen, I think Christian Bale is long overdue for getting a Best Actor award. Give him a Best Actor award.
Yeah, his voice and mannerisms are really solid. I've seen
pretty amazing.
Seen a lot of Cheney footage, and he does quite a good job.
Well, what's weird is that, you get someone like Christian Bale, and he's done all this crazy shit in his career, and he makes it look effortless. Like, he just, you know what I mean? Like, he just makes it, he just does it, and it seems easy. I get, even, if he's, 90 pounds or, 200 pounds, it's just...
He's the mark of a good actor, of a master, even.
And what I think is nuts is, you play Batman, Dick Cheney, and an anorexic person. That's nuts. I don't know. If that's not range, then I don't know what it is.
I was reading a really interesting thing with this guy. Wrote a really interesting essay talking about how most people think that good acting equals good range, which is not necessarily the case. Because they were talking about Keanu Reeves, and Keanu Reeves doesn't have good range. He's a really good actor in the roles that he can play. He's good at, because when you think what's a good actor? It's not someone who can yell really loud. It's someone who can carry the story, who based on their expressions, based on their body movement, based on what the character's thinking, what their motivation is, all that kind of stuff. Do they have the charm to carry the story? Do you know, do you want to watch them? Keanu Reeves is an excellent actor in that respect.
Okay, I mean, that's true. I think there's a difference between what Keanu Reeves does and what Christian Bale does.
It's a difference,
though.
but it's more just breaking down what is good acting, and more this article I was reading or this essay was trying to dispel the myth that good acting means I can do all sorts of ranges. And then they also were talking about, which I thought was interesting, because one of the definitions of good acting is being able to sort of not disappear into the role, not necessarily as like a chameleon, but you're not looking at a movie and being like, that guy's acting. Which you brought up Johnny Depp, because Johnny Depp is a very accomplished actor who's able to hit the emotional beats and he's he does all the things right, but you're so aware that he's acting that he's a bad actor in that sense. That was his argument. I don't have any opinions on that either way. I don't want to say anyone's a bad actor or not. But Keanu Reeves is a great actor, I think. And when it comes to certain types of characters.
I'm not going to say that Keanu Reeves is a bad actor. It's a different kind of acting.
It's he can't play certain roles, but when he has that I thought he's like Kristen Stewart, like I was saying. There are certain types of roles they can play, but they can play them amazingly.
Well, yeah, but okay, so here's my thing. All right. And maybe this is just me being a Christian Bale enthusiast. So you take something like John Wick. John Wick was a great movie. Keanu Reeves did a great job in it. However, I feel like if you were to say, could Christian Bale play John Wick? I would say yes. If you're to say, hey, could Keanu Reeves play Dick Cheney? I would say probably not.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, that's a difference. That there's a question of range, but range is not the only important thing for being an actor.
Well, no, but I think in the world, if you're to in the culture of screen acting, I mean, it's noticeable, right? It's a noticeable strength. I think for someone to be able to play a bunch of different kinds of roles. Now, if you get someone like George Clooney that basically plays himself in every movie, that's also like, that's also impressive, but it's impressive for different reasons. It's just like, here's this guy that has natural charisma that's able to play himself in all these different movies, and he carries a movie well because he just has natural charisma. And Keanu Reeves, like, I think his type of acting is sort of like strictly like the audience character, the like sort of this vessel for the you're seeing this through his eyes, and there's not much nuance, I would say, to his acting, so it doesn't get in the way of that. Like he's very like non-intrusive with his acting, kind of like Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is, I would say, maybe the best with that. Right? Where it's like, you don't have to worry about what kind of person Tom Cruise is in the movie. You don't have to worry about his like personality defects in this movie. He's just this guy. And then the rest of the movie happens around him. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of superheroes, did you see the sizzle reel for Aquaman?
The sizzle reel? No.
It was like a 5-minute long trailer / sizzle reel they released in conjunction with the New York Comic Con.
So New York Comic Con happened really recently, and I take it that, okay, I don't know anything about New York Comic Con.
It's just a Comic Con in New York. It's probably bigger because of that.
Okay.
That's about it. Yeah, no, I watched it though. It looks fun. There was some really impressive camera work, I thought. Like, just kind of like, it has a bit of razzle dazzle, but it was like full of energy. And, I like Jason Momoa in the role still. Like, he seems fun. Like, it seems fun. It seems like lots of fun. And I think Black Manta looks super cool.
I think Jason Momoa as Aquaman is probably one of the stronger things to come out of the DCEU.
Well, I mean, all the like him, Henry Cavill,
Margot Robbie,
sure. Gal Gadot. I don't know how to. Every time I think I know how to pronounce her name, someone tells me it's wrong.
Same here, yeah. Maybe that's it. They're the stronger cast.
I mean, like, I like Ezra Miller as the Flash, but like, there was nothing about his performance that could have been done by anyone else. I guess I don't know. Like that movie doesn't do him any favors.
He was just like a comedic kid.
He was fun. He was great. He had great comedic timing. He was a great comedic, comic relief character. I'd like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing him in his own movie for sure.
I wonder if they're still doing that.
Who knows? Oh, did you see that? Yeah. So DC soft canceled the Deathstroke movie.
I didn't even realize they were going to make
they
one.
They soft greenlit a Deathstroke. They've been soft greenlighting and soft canceling movies hither and thither. They soft greenlit Gareth Evans, the director of The Raid, was going to direct. They were like, I read not a press release, but like reports say that this guy is doing the Deathstroke movie. I'm like, fuck yeah! And then like a week ago, I was like, reports say that this movie is now canceled. God damn it!
Oh,
so that just seems to be
they just. I mean, here's the thing.
Course.
Okay, if we could. Here's the thing. If we were to go through the list of stuff they've like greenlit and canceled, it's probably more movies than they've released. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Justice League 2. I haven't heard anything about the Batman standalone movie. I haven't heard anything about another Superman movie. These are all stuff at one time.
Yeah, Green Lantern Corps. They were keep talking about the Flash movie.
The Flash movie. Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey has a release date now.
Okay.
So that's still happening. That's not canceled. They like that. That's moving forward. They have casting people. I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead's the Huntress, they announced.
Interesting.
And someone else is some Black Canary, maybe. I forget. Was it Black Canary or was it Cassandra Cain? I don't remember. I think they're all in the movie. I forget who plays who, though. I
mean, there was going to... I imagine there was going to be a Suicide Squad 2 movie, but now there's not.
They're working on it. There's the Joker Harley spin-off movie, which is not the same Joker as... Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker movie.
Wait, it's so, and that's okay. So is Harley Quinn going to be Margot Robbie?
Yeah, and there's also Jared Leto's Joker.
They're going to recast him because he's
other
not coming
Joker.
back.
No, I think he is.
I thought he famously didn't like Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't come back. He said that all of his stuff was cut. All of the fun stuff he did was cut, and he was like, "Oh man." That's what he said. That's what at least I recall.
Okay, I don't get it. If they have him on board, why are they doing this Joaquin Phoenix thing? I
don't know. Justice League Dark has been in development forever. That's still not canceled, but it's not. I think they actually announced that they had a new director for it, or
Batgirl.
something. Batgirl.
Joss Whedon's Batgirl is not going to happen.
Wonder Woman 1984, if that's what it's called. I really don't know.
That's going to happen.
I know it's happening. I'm just naming. I'm just thinking of the movies.
But Joss Whedon's out, right?
Shazam.
Joss Whedon's out for Batgirl.
Like he left.
I just haven't heard anything.
Well, they're developing it. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Takes a long time to develop movies,
Apparently.
I think that's it. I don't know. I'm probably missing something.
I mean, Henry Cavill, we still don't know if he's out or not or what.
That's all very confusing. I don't think anyone knows what the score is, and everyone's just sort of trying to figure it out before they make any announcements. And there's Damon Lindelof's Watchmen HBO TV series, which is not related to any of that, but that's in development.
I think that would be good. I think Watchmen, that's what that needs.
I think
is a miniseries.
I think if DC, the DCU or EU or whatever you want to call it, had the same kind of, phase system that Marvel's did. Phase 4, Dr. Manhattan fucks with the DC universe, a la the Doomsday Clock comic.
Yeah, I would say just.
And you get Billy Crudup to come back, and he's like, "I've seen a lot of shit in movies for the past few years. I'm Billy Crudup." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, Billy Crudup, you beat everything." Even though he was the Flash's dad, so that doesn't really make sense.
My whole thing is, what I don't understand is why are people so weird with like just recasting and not having to explain it? Like the MCU has done it.
What do you mean? Like,
I guess what I mean is like, because you're talking about, okay, Dr. Manhattan fucks with the DCU and fixes all the problems it has, basically.
Ooh, right now you mean?
Huh?
No, I was just saying, I don't know. Like, that's what happens in the comic books. I guess it's not fixes its problems, but causes problems. Because in the comic books, Dr. Manhattan caused the New 52 and then undid it or whatever. Or people realized people realized that the New 52 happened and become a whole, and I don't know.
But, sorry, maybe I heard that wrong. Are you saying they should do that with the movies?
No, I'm saying that if DCEU, the DCEU was the same as Marvel, if they had whatever Justice League, blah, 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 Justice League 2. If they did that, Phase 4 should be the Justice League versus the Watchmen or whatever.
Oh.
I'm just talking because
okay.
you get Phase 3 is Justice League versus the Anti-Monitor or whatever the big deal threat is, right? And then Justice League 4 is versus the Watch, because eventually you got to keep upping the stakes,
Yeah, I to be honest, I would
because you gotta blow your dark side load with the first one.
I would be okay, and here I would be bummed out if Watchmen fought Justice League because
it's just Dr. Manhattan mostly.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
And it's not I don't know, but that'd be a pretty artsy movie
because the whole Watchmen universe. I mean, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm going to say. Is
they'll be exploded.
The Watchmen universe is supposed to be a commentary on basically. Here's what DC Comics would be if it was real.
Yeah.
If these people were real, this is how the world would be.
Yeah, and I'm saying that Dr. Manhattan, it wouldn't be like them fighting like the airport fight in Civil War. It'd be like Dr. Manhattan fucks with some stuff timeline-wise, and they got to fix it. Yeah. And also, I don't know, Brainiac's there or something. It should be, if this was like a Justice League, it'd be like Justice League 1, Brainiac, Justice League 2, Darkseid, Justice League 3, Anti-Monitor, Justice League 4, Dr. Manhattan. If you're doing the stakes raising.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, you get Brainiac in a fucking movie. Come on. No one cares about Steppenwolf.
The sad thing is I kind of feel like it's going to be a very long time before we see it's going to be a very long time before we witness a glorious run of DC movies. That's the unfortunate truth about it. Is we're not going to see this glorious collection of film that DC's putting out until this whole thing is over, and we're 30 years into the future.
I think we'll see.
And they decide to hard reboot
would love that if Aquaman and Shazam are excellent. Because that'd be great. But I don't know. It's going to be a while. If those are good, and the next few are good, I don't know how they're gonna. Again, if they want to do the whole connected universe thing, they really need to hard reboot or Dr. Manhattan or Flashpoint reboot stuff, where Flash has a Flashpoint movie which was soft canceled because they said it's not going to be Flashpoint anymore or whatever. And then it's well, I ran back in time and I came back to the regular present, but now only Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa left and maybe Henry Cavill, but Ben Affleck's not Batman anymore. That's weird. And and the Joker's normal.
their biggest problem is their Batman properties right now.
Did you see that Zack Snyder was planning in the original like trajectory of the DCEU? Zack Snyder was going to kill Batman
Oh, really?
by like Justice League 2 or whatever. There was like a 5-movie arc involving Batman, and he would die at the end of it, which is like that seems kind of like a bad move if you're trying to make a a soap operatic forever lasting franchise. Unless you replace him with Dick Grayson, which I guess I'm okay with, but like not because like.
It's weird. Yeah.
And also because again, you're starting with old Batman. Unless you're like your plan was to start with old Batman, replace him with young Batman, and then all of Batman's villains appear. I guess that works, but it doesn't because there is no Dick Grayson.
The big fundamental problem is they need to have a Batman that works that's like just hugely successful. They need that Batman for audiences to be like, oh shit, this Batman's really amazing and blah blah blah. And then they need to build the rest of the movie franchises around that. It's unfortunate, but it's true. DC survives because of Batman. Marvel doesn't have that same problem because they don't on one hand, it's like Marvel doesn't have their big recognizable champion. They just have smaller, less successful, but successful enough, like recognizable enough properties for them to be like, okay, we can do this. But DC is this. It's the Batman show,
and Superman and Wonder Woman. They all have their fans.
Wonder Woman, I would say. Superman, notoriously, people don't give a shit about.
People like the idea of Superman, but no one ever does him right.
All I'm saying is, if there's a problem with Batman, then you have a problem with your whole movie universe.
No, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, it's not only up to Batman if you're having all of those guys fucking around.
Right, but he is the keystone of the entire operation. And right now, they had their Ben Affleck Batman, and for personal and professional reasons, it doesn't work. Right? Like Ben Affleck is going through some stuff right now, and then also their interpretation of Batman with him being Batman is not that popular.
Man, I wish he was still directing movies.
I know. Him being Batman sort of derailed.
I was so excited just to have Ben Affleck. That could be just like that, really like that Cinderella story actor who kind of was starting a bunch of shitty. Started off great and then moved to a bunch of kind of shitty action movies, and then was a big director, and that's his thing now. And then he's like, I'll be Batman now. I don't know what he's doing anymore, which sucks. I really wanted to see what he did after Argo, and I know he did that one movie that no one liked.
Oh right.
But I think I was a casualty of him being Batman.
I get the impression when they were making these contracts for him and stuff, WB. I get the impression that something that was talked about very early on was, hey, you can write and direct your own Batman movie.
Probably.
And then somehow, sometime after Batman v Superman, they're like, well, hey, Ben Affleck, maybe we're going to put some strings on this, and maybe the leash is going to be a lot shorter for you for this.
Yeah. I think you were talking about Ben Affleck's too recognizable to be Batman almost, I think. I don't
know if that was me.
At the time, I don't thinking back now in hindsight. It's Ben Affleck. It's hard to it's much like George Clooney. It's hard to remove this guy from this character.
Yeah, it's true.
It's hard for him to disappear into the Batman role. I mean, when you have
George
the mask
Clooney,
on it,
for sure.
But it's you need someone just a little less bigger than life, I guess.
Well, and
because Ben Affleck's a superstar,
and that's the thing is it was almost a step backwards for him. Whereas honestly, with the Nolan verse, everybody will say what they will about it post release, but I think it was great timing for what they did. Coming back to Christian Bale and all that, it's he was really up and coming in those early aughts. Mm-hmm. That's when he was really starting to make some strides. But he was relatively still kind of.
Wait, are you talking shit about Newsies?
I mean, Newsies was great. Don't get me wrong, and Swing Kids and all that shit. Midsummer Night Dream or whatever.
He was in Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun. But he didn't. American Psycho, right?
He was just an actor at that time. He wasn't a star.
He wasn't a superstar, and I think him going into the Batman movies, it was sort of oh, okay, I didn't know who he was until I saw Batman. Like, I had seen Reign of Fire, but I'm like, I don't know who Christian Bale is. This guy has a beard on his face. I have no idea who this is.
I can't remember what I thought about him, if I knew him before then or not.
But I almost like the shame of it is like back when it was just the Nolan verse, and back when Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale were like, yeah, we're not going to do any superhero shit. Fuck that. We're just doing Batman stuff. I was like all for it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes total sense, and they shouldn't do it. And here's this practical world that they should just keep practical. But now looking back, where they've recasted, it's I almost okay. What I'm getting to in a very long-winded way is I almost feel now, 8 years after? No, 6 years at 6 years after that last Nolan movie. Looking back now, the choices that DC has made after the Nolan verse and going into their own shared universe, I almost feel like, man, maybe they just should have tried to do the Christian Bale Batman because he was already established. He already had his good movies.
I can't believe so much has happened in only 6 years.
I know.
That's ridiculous. I feel like it's been like 12.
Well,
anyways, what?
All I'm saying is, like, it sucks because they had that really strong foundation for a Batman character, and then they sort of tried to deconstruct it and redo it. And then they came out with this Batman that fucking kills people and brands them with a thing, and like it just didn't work. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I mean, I know you have more strong opinions about the Batman character in that movie than I do.
He shouldn't kill. That's all I'm saying.
If he does, it has to be a thing, you know. And the movie didn't make a thing about it.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, actually, it's like I would not be surprised if Warner Brothers or DC or whoever was just like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna pull, a fucking like Halloween, and just do The Dark Knight 4. Just forget all that. Christian Bale, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, come back. We're just doing this universe again. I would not be surprised if that happened. I
would be fucking thrilled about that.
Really? I thought we were gonna say Furious.
No, because here's the problem. Well,
it had to be Nolan, of course, but
that third movie, unfortunately, undoes it kind of screws up a lot of things. So I guess if you were to come back with a fourth movie, it would be weird, right?
I mean, you'd have Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Batman for like half the movie at least.
Right, but I would be for that over...
Or Robin, I guess.
Like, I would be more inclined to watch... definitely more inclined to watch that. Especially if you got, like, Nolan back, which you would never do.
No, I wouldn't say never. I mean, like, you give him... He's like, hey, Christopher Nolan, we're Warner, but I'm Mr. Warner's himself. Again, the ghost of Jack Warner. I'll give you $50 million and carte blanche to do whatever the fuck crazy movie you want again to make Batman 4. I think Christopher Nolan would probably do it if he was like... If it were like, unlimited budget, whatever you want to do.
See, that's the thing, is I would say maybe not what Christopher Nolan exactly wants. See, the problem with the third movie is I feel like they just said, hey, Nolan, you know what? Go ahead and do whatever.
Well, I think, I've read the what I've read, this is all rumor and hearsay, is that Christopher Nolan post-death of Heath Ledger was like, all my ideas are shit now. Like all my cool ideas for the third one are like, I can't do them anymore. And I'm like, it's like they're giving me a lot of money. I'll just do whatever. Right. Because if you look, like the reason that like the people are like, well, if you look at like Christopher Nolan's filmography, like all of his movies are very strong thematic through lines, except for The Dark Knight Rises, which doesn't. It's like he doesn't care that much.
It had a thematic through line, but it wasn't strong.
Super strong, like really obviously hitting you over the head strong thematic through lines.
Well, I mean, what I got from that third movie, Dark Knight Rises, the impression I got was the theme of that movie was basically Bruce Wayne did this whole Batman thing because he didn't care about his life, and he had to reach a point where he cared about his life in order to be Batman again and save the day, which is in the movie was very convoluted and didn't quite. It was weird because the whole thing, him climbing out of the pit and the rope and all that, and
Like usually his movies are more simple. They have like simple one-word themes
Yeah.
that are
Escalation,
expounded upon.
right? Fear, escalation. I think that was the
I would say like anarchy is this
Yeah.
in the Dark Knight, like anarchy, justice, like like that kind of stuff, escalation, if you will.
yeah.
And then like love and Interstellar and
Oh God, yeah.
I forget what Inception's thing is, but it's there and like I don't know, and dreams I guess if you want.
Right. What would Dunkirk
And then
be?
Dunkirk is just sort of is a more simple story about just survive. I don't know.
I want to watch that movie again.
It was a good movie. It was very
Yeah, it's weird. That's the only Nolan movie that I seem to not have much of an opinion on. I'm like, okay, that was fun, but like I don't know. I don't know.
I really like the sound design in that movie a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like I didn't like the mixing and that again the music is over everyone's voices and I didn't like that, and I didn't like, speaking of silhouettes, how everyone had black hair and was like a bunch of white
right.
guys with black
Everyone
hair, and they
looked
all
alike.
looked the same. And it's like, who's who? Is that guy? I couldn't tell. But the sound design, like the bullets, I think I saw that movie in 70 millimeter. And I don't know if it was just part of the print or if that was just the way the sound design was. But every time like, a gunshot was fired, it was like really loud. It was like awesome. Like that's how it
Yeah.
should be in all movies. It should really jar you when someone shoots a gun. In Mission Impossible 6, there's a part where Tom Cruise like shoots a bunch of people and it's like bam, 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 bam. It's like really loud. It's like that's what you want. You want that kind of
yeah.
Michael Mann-esque bam, really loud sound. Which is
Michael
why
Mann.
well, that's what he does. His gunshots like his gunshot sound effects are like notoriously like good sounding. Like I don't know,
You know,
because
unfortunately,
they're not
but-
fake. You're usually captured live on set.
right? Yeah. Well, and what's funny about Michael Mann is I keep just going back to that weird ass scene in Public Enemies where they're hiding out in the. Did you see that movie, Public Enemies?
Yeah, they're in the woods.
They're in the woods, and then you're watching this whole sequence where there's like no sound design. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I remember that sequence being really weird. I just remember it being like
It's like you're watching like behind the scene. It's like you're watching someone with a camcorder or something. It was odd.
I
don't
just
know.
remember thinking that scene was like this is like such an obviously day scene that was either it's like super bright so that it was like filtered to shit or something.
Yeah,
I remember that scene really stuck out to me for some reason.
It was just. It was. Yeah, it was an odd scene.
If you could make a Dark Knight 4, who would you villainize in it?
I think okay. Well, where the series leaves off is like. Unfortunately, there's only a few places you can go with a Batman series now, right? For one, it's been 6 years. Christian Bale is what 45 or something. Christian Bale is considerably older now than he was when the franchise started.
And fat because he's Dick Cheney now.
Because 2005. I mean, shit. Like, oh my god, 13 years or whatever. So it's gonna have to be an older Batman, which isn't necessarily like limiting.
Mm-hmm.
There's still stuff you can do, but
Again, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt could also be Batman in this.
I would just get rid of that whole thing.
Well,
honestly,
You wouldn't want realistic Batman, realistic Robin teaming up, and
I don't. Well, here's
or
the
a
thing.
couple of Batmen.
For one, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's name in that movie was like
It's like Tim Johnson.
Tim Johnson or something. It was not like any of the Robins, which I guess I don't have a problem with, but like I kind of do. Okay, this is what I picture. I think the only place left to go with a Batman movie is he comes back to Gotham City. Maybe things didn't work out with Selena Kyle, so she's gone somewhere.
No, that's a shame.
Or maybe she comes back. I don't know.
I hope so. I
Maybe
hope
she's
they should have, like,
Catwoman.
They should have. It should be a thing where it's like shit goes to shit, and then Michael Caine has to go to like Venice or wherever and be like, Master Wayne, I found you. Let's do it. And then he and Selena Kyle and whatever character Joseph Gordon-Levitt's playing, whatever Robin or something, they all team up together. It's a big Bat family,
Yeah.
and they gotta take down Mr. Freeze.
And I know people maybe don't have this opinion, but I actually do like the ending of Dark Knight Rises. Like, in the context of that trilogy, I actually kind of do like the fact that Bruce Wayne went off somewhere. He found this girl that I guess he loves, and he just moved on with his life.
Nah,
He's not Batman anymore.
It's fine. That movie's not like I don't. That movie's good for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
it's,
just, like,
it's the
weird-
Godfather 3 of the Batman trilogy. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like you
yeah.
know, it's just like it's
There's just like some weird things.
better than many movies, but it's just
Yeah.
like it's just like compared to the Dark Knight and Batman Begins, it's such a
Yeah, it's just not as
outlier.
good. Yeah.
The thing I hate the most about that ending is people who say, "Oh, it should have been just Michael Caine looking at the camera and winking," and that was
No,
it's like, "Oh,
fuck
shut
that.
up."
No.
That's the like. What's the point of that?
because because this is what it was. They saw Inception,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Inception did that, and they're like, "Meh, I want an ending where we don't know or
Yeah,
whatever."
but it's like, who the fuck else would Michael Caine be like looking and winking at? Like, no, there's only one person. Like, it's not a ambiguous ending. It's like it's obvious. Just show us.
I don't want a Bugs
And they did.
Bunny. I don't want a Bugs Bunny Alfred winking at the camera. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No, I like the ending to that third movie where here Bruce Wayne has finally found his happiness and he's finally living a normal life.
Yeah.
That was a good ending to that trilogy.
Yeah, it worked.
But if a fourth movie, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, nothing.
I was just gonna say a fourth movie. He comes back to Gotham City. We quickly establish that he wants to be Batman again, so he's Batman again. Alfred is, there. They got the Batcave, and then honestly, I just want a movie where it's Batman on the beat. Like I want a movie where it's like we're seeing all those villains that we didn't get to see for the rest of the trilogy, making some cameos. And then you can lead it up to something bigger. Who knows? Riddler, whoever the fuck, right? What would be really cool, actually, is it's like, okay, Bruce Wayne comes back to Gotham City, and it's all just gone to shit. And what I mean is like these different crime syndicates have really taken over.
Like an Episode 7 situation.
Like a what?
Star Wars Episode 7, where it's like I leave for just a bit, and like the Empire comes back.
Yeah, you got the Penguin, you got Black Mask, you got whoever else, the Falcone family, maybe the remnants of that,
Boring.
and all these crime syndicates have just started taking over territory, and they've launched themselves into this war with each other, and then Batman's in the middle of it, and blah blah blah.
Now, my ideal Batman movie wouldn't involve this; it would still be like its own different universe. Because I do not want to see the Nolanverse come back. I want to see, just like Batman in a more fantastic universe where Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze live, and like it feels right.
That'd be great.
And he's like doing like a little more. He's got a little more sci-fi tech.
Listen, do a hard reboot. I think a hard reboot with that would be great.
But my idea, and I said before, is that Batman. It's just a movie where Batman like starts the movie off solving like some like low level mysteries. Like someone broke into this person's house, and I'm solving a mystery, and then it leads him on a long, crazy night. And it's just one night, and it's just a crazy night. And he's running into the Penguin, and all sorts of stuff, and like he's like, like beating the Penguin to get information. Like he like runs into like Catwoman or fucking Clayface or like just like randomly, and then like the ultimate villain is like the Riddler or who gives a shit,
Yeah.
Preferably the Riddler, because I want to see the Riddler in a fucking movie that isn't Jim Carrey, like a nice, like cool, calculated Riddler, not
an actual Riddler,
not crotch thrust in
not
spandex Riddler.
crazy ass, not Ace Ventura Riddler.
The thing about the Riddler's such a like, he's got like it's a gimmick, and then it's like anything else. So there is no like the one Riddler, but I want to see like a Riddler that's a little more smart.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Who knows? I get the impression someday the pendulum's going to swing back, and we're going to get those Batman movies that were like more.
I mean, like
Tim Burton, kind of like grounded in kind of a fantastic
like
world.
Matt Reeves is working on it. Like his Planet of the Apes movies, like kind of have a similar tone, where it's a bunch of talking apes in a kind of grounded world. It's perfect.
Yeah,
and I just hope that they let him just kind of not have to worry about continuity.
Right.
But we'll see. It's a brave new world, an exciting future, and hopefully everything's good.
Yeah.
Anyways, what are your ideas for a potential Batman movie? Let us know at filmtasticvoyage.com, filmtasticvoyage@gmail.com, or filmtasticvoyage@facebook.com, or filmtasticvoyage@youtube.com, or on Letterboxd, Batman Carlos.
I'm Mr. Kerosene. Yes, be sure to check out reviews. Hey, add us on there. We want to add you. I'm always looking for new reviewers on Letterboxd.
Mm-hmm.
We are a part of a bigger podcast network, the Let Me Listen podcast network. You can find all kinds of podcasts about movies and some other things. Plenty of hours of listening. Listen, you got that road trip across the world? All right. Around the World in 80 Days. You know what I'm talking about. Plug into the Let Me Listen podcast network. You can find us on SoundCloud, on iTunes. Leave us some ratings. Leave us some comments. Leave us some reviews. Tell your friends about us. Tell your family about us. We're always looking for new listeners. Listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you, talking at you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Oh, yep.